Meeple Talk! Hello everyone, I'm Stephanie.
And I'm Adam.
And welcome to Meeple Talk. So today we're going to be talking about Tzolk'in, the Mayan calendar.
Tzolk'in is a game for 2 to 4 players by Rio Grande. It takes about 90 minutes to play, and it's based on, the theme of the Mayan culture and the Mayan calendar, as they say in the name.
Exactly.
Yes.
Who knew that? A matching theme. So before we get into the actual rules and how you play, I really want to take a moment to orient you with the actual board itself, because it's quite a complex board, just like the game itself is a complex game. So first thing we're going to look at here, you might notice that one of the different things about this game is that it has gears. Look at this. Oh! And it's awesome. So why that's important is that this main gear represents the Mayan calendar. In old times, Mayan calendars often base themselves on 28-day cycles for their calendar. And so in this game, the overall calendar itself is 28 turns in total. And as we move along in the game, you'll notice that that the gear is going to be moving all these other regions and zones.
All of them turn at the same time. Yeah.
Which is really awesome. I love it. And what this is connected to are different zones. They're named after different Mayan cities, like Tikal and Uxmal and Chichen Itza. Okay, that was so bad. Anyway, but either way, and why they're important is that they help you do things along the game. So one is you've got some food resources that you can use to feed your players. You have other types of resources that you can earn to build or escalate or advance yourself in any of the aspects of the game that you're doing. One is for positioning, I guess, to advance yourself in different areas of the game.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Okay, then we've got your trading zone. It's like your merchant area. And finally, the spiritual zone that you can use these awesome crystal skulls that remind me of, what's that guy's name? Indiana Jones!
And the crystal skull.
So memorable, I totally blanked out. And so you can use that to place your, depending on the zone that you get, not only earn victory points for that particular position, but also advance yourself in the temple regions. So that's, so this whole calendar controls your movement, and you have to decide based on your positioning what area or stop you want to jump off of to get that particular advancement or resource.
So you start with these guys. So you got like 3 guys you start with. 3 Mayan people, I guess, or workers. And
they were very cylindrical looking back in the day.
Yes, they were just, pretty cylindrical. And and the sole purpose of these guys is to put them on and take them off of these 5 little wheels around here. And essentially, these are like sort of like mini games, because you put them on, and then after your turn is over, you turn the wheel, and then the next person takes their turn, and then they turn the wheel.
Actually, we all go, and then it turns.
Oh, do we?
Yes.
Right. I was going to say that. Anyway, so then the idea is that when you take your guy off is when you can get the the benefit of that particular region. So in this case, if I took him off here, he would get 4 corn. I would get 4 corn, which I could use to, feed my people later, or do some other things that require some extra corn here. And you can either put guys on during your turn or take them off, but you can't put them on and take them off in the same turn. And basically, you're trying to get the resources for building buildings, to get these monuments, which allow you to score extra victory points at the end of the game in different areas. You can score points by moving up in these temples, and this gear allows you to move up in the temples, and you can move up in the technology tree here, which allows you to get more corn when you get corn, and that sort of thing. And this wheel, Stephanie is basically giving you a general overview of the wheels, but basically the things that you do on the wheel allow you to do more things in these kind of mini games here. And eventually your goal is to score victory points, as many victory points as you can before the end of the game. You got your victory point track here, and after 28 turns, the game is over.
And also, too, there's, even though it goes for 28 rounds or cycles, there are 4 critical points in those games where either the point scoring or resource collecting or feeding actually happens. So every quarter is when a major event happens. So in the first quarter, you always have to feed. Every quarter you have to feed your people. So even though you might have a long-term strategy of, doing this or that, you always still have to make sure your people are fed. So every quarter, feeding happens. And in phase 1 and 3, depending on how far you've advanced in your temple region, you're going to be rewarded by the gods for different resources that you would have earned, depending on your position. Also, and then rounds 2 and 4, this is where you're going to be earning your victory points. So again, based on temple position, you'll gain victory points. You get victory points right away when you land in the spiritual wheel. And then also in the end of the game, you might not see these here, but in these building tiles that we have, once the first half of the game is done, the building tiles actually change to other type of benefits that more have to do with end game winning conditions. So whether it's for certain types of corner wood tiles that you have, a number of those, whether it's based on your position in the temples, or even just ones of similar tile colors that you can have, or number of people that you have. So they're going to give you extra victory points that you can earn at the end of the game.
Yes, this game is very fiddly, as I like to say. And the reason is that there's so many things going on, and there's so many different ways to earn resources and eventually earn victory points that it's very overwhelming. Even after you played the game a few times, it's difficult to form a particular strategy. And when you do form a strategy, you'll find that very often that's being tripped up because, let's say, you want to move up in the technology tree, for example. It might take 5 or 6 turns to do that, and then, all of a sudden, now I need 6 corn in order to feed my people, because every quarter turn or 7 turns, then you have to feed your people. And and then another thing that will happen is you might have some people on the wheel, but then you want to put another guy on the wheel, but if you put him on the wheel, then you can't take these guys off, and they might be at a good position right where you want to take them off, because let's say you want to get a crystal skull, and you're at the spot where you can get a crystal skull, but then if you take that off, then you can't put another guy on. And so I find that in this game, although it's cool and it's very involving, on the other hand, I find that often it's very frustrating because it's very difficult to accomplish any one thing. You have to do that over a long period of time, and time is always ticking. And now it looks like 28 rounds would be a lot of time, but turns go very quickly. So you will find that it might take you 10 or 15 turns to accomplish some major goal that you wanted to accomplish, and then half the game is over, and then you say, well, what else can I do to earn points? And there's a lot of little rules that I find are frustrating. So while I like the game, I also find that it can be a very frustrating game to play. So that's my general take on it. I think if it wasn't for a lot of little frustrating rules, like when you come to one of these spots and you can get 7 or 9 corn, well, you can't do that if there's no corn that are revealed. So you go all that way and you spend 4 turns bringing your guy there, and then you can't get what you want. And I find that happens often in this game. So I think it could have been a great game. I think it's a good game. But there's just a lot of frustration. It's almost like it models real life more than it models the Mayan calendar. In your own life, you're trying to do this, and then I have to pay this bill, and then something else happened. And so I think it's a good model of real life, but I don't know if modeling real life is a good basis for a game.
I was just going to say, you were going to take my very exact point away.
Yes.
I was going to say something similar to that effect. The way I envision this game is sort of like life as we currently have it, in the sense that you've got your long-term goals that you want to accomplish, but the day-to-day stuff often has to be taken care of at the same time. And a lot of times the day-to-day stuff can be a constraint against, whatever it is that long-term goal is. And this game really has that same effect. It would be awesome if you can just, get your crystal skull and go right to the end right away. Awesome. But you have to get that skull first, and then you have to be able to advance, and you have to realize that as you place your people, the longer, depending on the larger wheel or where it is you want to go, the longer that you want to stay on a certain course, you're going to be limited. You have fewer guys to do it. And you can buy fewer guys, absolutely, but then you have to feed them. So you always have these short-term constraints of you have to make sure that you've got lots and lots of corn, which is going to take away, again, from any other long-term strategy that you're going to have. So it's always about a mix of blending these competing interests. So when it comes to what I think of the game, or where it can be usable, you do have to be careful with this one. It is, if you're someone who likes strategy games, this is one that is going to test your strategy skills fully. The short term, the long term, all of it together. So you are going to be challenged with it. And if you do succeed, especially, the nice thing about this game is that there's more than one avenue to win, depending on how you choose to earn your victory points. You can win by just a little bit or win by landslides. So if you are the type of person who really wants to see those plans through, and if you do win, it's very, very rewarding. But you have to keep in mind that it's a limited range of people that you can play with. It's not the type of sit-down, lighthearted party game that anyone can just pick up and go. It's also not the type of game that you're going to be casually relaxing, having fun, and joking about with. It is a more intense type of game. So it's, I'm not saying that's bad, because sometimes that is a very, very good game, especially if you like having your mental challenges. This one will do it. But you just have to keep in mind of who your audience is. It's not one that you can just have anyone play in. You're probably going to have more experienced players, people who are very analytical players, and very strategic. This is going to be the type of game for that scenario.
Yeah, you definitely wouldn't bring some casual gamer in and have him play this game first, because it's just too overwhelming.
But that's all I would say, really, is that it is a select audience game. But if you absolutely like that type of strategy, absolutely give it a try. Yeah. I don't know, do you have any final thoughts or any additions?
Oh, I think I've said my piece.
Me too. But absolutely. And so I would say, depending on the avenue, absolutely check it out. So yeah.
Thanks for watching our review, and watch for our next one.
Exactly. We hope there will be more. Exactly. But good night, everybody. This has been Meeple Talk, and thanks for watching.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.